Welcome to the Arsenal Show. We are live and we have plenty to discuss today. First and foremost, Arsenal's start to the Premier League campaign, sitting pretty at the top, 2 points clear. Let's declare, call it a day now. We will take the league as it is, people. I know there's probably people that say, no, integrity, let's go to the end. But no, we're going to play it fair, call it days now, crown us champions. I will take it. I will take this right now. Take a photo because I don't think it's going to be like this by the end of the season. Although people are already throwing Arsenal's name into a title challenge, which I don't like because, as we know, they like to set up Arsenal. They do. I'm not being paranoid. This is not a conspiracy theory. But whenever Arsenal start doing well, they over-exaggerate things. Oh, Arsenal title contenders. So as soon as they big us up, they can slap us back down, but we're not having it. We're not having it. We learned that last season. We know not to fall into the traps. We won't be falling into the traps this time. I'm joined by Steve K. How you doing, Steve?
Yeah, how you doing, mate? Good to be here as always. I think I'm falling into the trap. No,
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I think I'm, but I think I'm doing. I'm not doing it on like a sort of thinking and saying kind of whim and then going, we've seen the game, we've seen us play well after 3 games, and then all of a sudden, we're going to win the league. I've sat down and thought seriously about it and looking at other teams and looking at, we'll probably get into it more later on, but I think I'm falling into the trap.
Mate, you can think it, but you can't say it. Like, you can think it all you want, but you can't say it out loud. The moment you say it out loud, it diminishes. It goes. You don't fall for it, Steve. Don't do it to yourself. Don't. Jerome has joined us. Jerome, you've not fallen into the trap, have you?
No, I'm steering well clear of the trap.
Well clear. Well done, Jerome. Well done. We don't want this. We don't.
Be honest with yourself, Jerome.
Deluded Arsenal, they throw it around. Deluded. Just think about winning the league. Now you're barely getting top 4. I don't want to hear it. We're about progression. We will take one step at a time. Give me top 4. I'm happy. Get me into the final of a cup. Because remember last season, we got into the Capital One, Carling Cup, whatever it is, semi-finals, and only lost out to the winners. Remember that. But people seem to forget that. And obviously we want to do better in the FA Cup because that is our bread and butter. That's one of our better tournaments as well. First and foremost, before we get on to, there's plenty of subjects. Obviously, there's going to be transfers later on in the program. There's going to be a bit of loan watch. We'll be checking up on the latest Arsenal players out on loan. Some really good performances this week. I've seen a couple. Jerome's going to give you the latest updates on them, and of course, we're going to do a little bit of a recap of the Brighton game, a 3-0 win. First of all, let's say hello to Jonathan. How you doing, Jonathan? And how you doing, Russ? How you doing? Steve, a little bit of a recap on the Bournemouth game for anyone who didn't see the post-match reaction. How good was that win? Was that the best you've seen Arsenal play? Third game, is that the best you've seen Arsenal play so far?
I think so. Total domination, right from the off. Every single player was on it from the beginning. We've said for a while now we're seeing partnerships form from all over the pitch. I've seen a lot of football. I've watched a hell of a lot of football since the season starts, and I'm not seeing anybody play as good as Arsenal. And I'm not saying that because I'm an Arsenal fan, because I watch all football and I've got quite a biased way of looking at things, but the way we're playing is, the closest we can get. We're going back to the Invincibles type of thing. Is the closest that I've seen. I know it's only 3 games. I know, but as Arsenal fans, we know when we're watching Arsenal, most of the time, if you look going through from a game point of view, you know how we're going to perform. You know if you're going to win. You know if you're going to lose. You know if you're going to have a good season. You're going to have a bad season or an average season. We can generally work it out, and at the moment, I'm just seeing some fantastic football from some, world-class players and players that are on the verge of world-class. And I think that was showing in the Bournemouth game. We're getting our centre-halves coming out, scoring worldies. Jesus just don't seem to know what the meaning of the word, slow down is. I don't know what's going to happen further in the season when Arteta might take him off or something like that. I don't think he's going to like that idea too much, but he's got that South American blood in him, so he's a winner. So I wouldn't expect anything different. But yeah, I mean, a fantastic performance. Just going back to what I said, I sort of went off it a bit. I haven't seen. It's the closest I've seen is the Invincibles. I mean, if Perez was doing the things that Martinelli was doing, Perez was doing the things Martinelli done, and vice versa, then we'd be lauding him. If he was Perez, if Jesus was doing some of the things that we've seen over the last 3 games that Omri did, we'd be calling him world class, fantastic, unbelievable. Okay, we haven't got Dennis Bergkamp yet, that's for sure. But the centre half partnership, the midfield partnership, we've had legends in their side, and at the moment, we're matching that type of football. Can it go on? Can we keep going on it with this pace? Can we go into the Fulham game and keep continuing till we get to the Manchester United game? We see him last night. It will be a test for us. I dare say they'll bring a couple of players in, but yeah, the start unbelievable. The weekend was great, and let's looking forward to the Fulham game now.
Yeah, Jerome. 3 games in. Would you say you're seeing a better Arsenal game per game? Is this the best you've seen so far?
Yeah, I think so. I think on one hand, we probably do have to take into account the opposition. Unless they make some very significant signings for them, there's a very good chance they'll get relegated. But on the flip side of that, we weren't doing this to teams that were sort of relegation fodder. Or we haven't been doing this to these types of teams the last few years. We haven't been putting in these types of performances. So despite the fact that this is a team that's probably going to go down, this performance is something we haven't seen for a very long time. So that, I think, bodes well in terms of moving forward. I think the next test will be, can we put in performances like this against maybe mid-table teams away? And then obviously the toughest tests will be the top teams away from home. But so far, so good. And if we can improve on that again at the weekend, then that'll be an unbelievable start to the season. 4 out of 4.
Yeah, no, definitely. Steve, a lot of other outsider fans would be surprised by this, but did you see these kind of the way Arsenal are playing and the momentum Arsenal playing? You saw that potentially in pre-season as well, and they've carried that on.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I just said there, when you've watched Arsenal for such a long time, or you've watched football in such a long time, you can get an idea. You look at players, you know a team, you know the shape, you know what Arteta's trying to bring. So you can get a good idea of how the season's going to sort of start and go on from pre-season's game. Sometimes you haven't got a clue, but sometimes you get this feel, inside you of what's going to happen. And we was incredible in the pre-season, and it wasn't like I was thinking, oh, it's only pre-season. I had the feeling that we was going to go on into the early games and we was going to smash it mainly because of the players we brought in. We brought in winners, with Zinchenko. We brought in winners with Gabriel Jesus. We said even before Saliba kicked the ball for Arsenal, we said that this kid's going to be something special. Even in the pre-season, and we knew it. And he's came into the Premier League against Crystal Palace, and he looks one of the best defenders in the league after 3 games. People will turn around and say, yeah, he's only had 3 games. Saliba's only had 3 games. He's not going to drop. His standards are not going to drop. There's a future World class footballer sitting in our centre back position right now. And he's come on and he's smashed it. And with players like Odegaard, we see him last season. He was fantastic. Martinelli, we just wanted to see if he could hit the ground running this season, whether he had the consistency to bring him from the pre-season into the Premier League. He's certainly done that. It's the midfield. There must have been that worry about the midfield. will Partey and Xhaka be good enough to be that midfield at the moment? I think they are. I think they're a great partnership. We see sort of, aspects of it last season, but they've been absolutely outstanding, the pair of them, so far. Yeah, certainly, mate. And it was evident in those pre-seasons that he tried to keep, quite a few games. He kept the team that we're seeing in the Premier League. So yeah, I did see it. It's carried on into the Premier League, and I'm excited now. I'm excited. Probably a bit too overexcited, but
yeah, no, you are. You just put you about. I feel like you're about to put Arsenal in a category.
I know. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. But I don't want to say it. I do not want to say it. I'm not going to say we're going to win the league. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going there. All I'm saying is I'm looking at other sides so far, and we're up there. Not saying we're going to win it though.
You can't. Jonathan says that Van Dijk hasn't been the same since Saliba made his Premiership debut. Is he running scared? With that finishing like that, since Van Dijk hit a shot like that since he was at Celtic, should he be running scared, Jerome?
There's been a direct correlation, isn't there, between that? It's nice. It's nice for us to talk about. And yeah, what happened to Van Dijk last night probably didn't help. There's been a few little memes going around. I don't know if you've seen the little photos where he put his hands behind his back. Like the Oasis singer.
Yeah, see it.
Very funny. That if he can be anything like Van Dijk, then we've got a player on our hands, haven't we? He's won European Cups and league titles. So, people are having a go at Van Dijk, but I wish they could have a go at our players the same way as they're having a go at Van Dijk in a few years' time.
Yeah. I mean, your take when people are digging out Saliba because it's the first mistake he's made in 2 seasons, and they're saying, "Oh, he is human." Like you can accept that, but how good of a start as this kid has? And
brilliant. I'll tell you what I was thinking about Saliba the other day. There was talk before he came back to us in the summer that for him to be in the French squad, for this World Cup, which is obviously very important, like he's got to be playing.
Mm-hmm.
That Saliba could sit on the bench every game from now until the World Cup, and I think he'd still get picked for France. That's how good he is. Their manager would be mental not to pick him. I think he's that good. And obviously, he started for us already, and he's going to play. Hopefully, all being well, plenty of games between now and the World Cup. And if you ever wanted, or if there was ever a shoo-in of someone to go to the World Cup, I mean, Saliba's got to be that guy, isn't he? That is how impressive his start has been.
Yeah.
Do you think this alleviates some worries potentially from some of the fans that other teams could come in for his signature, or even he could want to leave?
You'd like to think, or you'd love to think so. The fans love him. You heard them singing his name. That song's probably been stuck in people's heads over the weekend. Certainly stuck in.
Saliba.
Yeah. And you'd like to think that all those sorts of things makes him feel at home, makes him feel sort of wanted, and basically makes him feel happy. And so, fingers crossed he stays at us for a very long time.
Ryan's asking if he's got an English uncle, Steve. Have you done your research to see if there's any loopholes to get Saliba to sign up for England?
Brilliant.
No, but as soon as I get off the show, Ryan, tonight, I'm on it.
Melvin says he wants 8 fish and chips. I think that's enough. If he can have pie and mash, and an English roast, mate, he's done. He's done. That's it. He's 100% English citizen.
Then again, if Gareth Southgate plays Harry Maguire, he'll probably put him on the bench anyway. So,
oh gosh,
he counts as a homegrown. He counts as a homegrown player, doesn't he, Saliba? Probably. So he must be English.
I think he does because he signed before he was 19. So look, homegrown English. I mean, they're the same, aren't they? They're the same. Steve, another player that's had a really good start and has definitely not gone under the radar because just of his presence in the squad is Alexander Zinchenko. technically gifted. He's doing a very good job of keeping Kieran Tierney out of the team, isn't he?
Yeah, we thought it at the beginning of the season. We had a conversation about it, who would start left back, and even when there was rumours about him when he first was first sort of linked to the club and coming. I think it was one of us. I know I agreed with it. If it may have been me who said it, but that if Zinchenko's coming to the club, he's not sitting on that bench. They haven't had a conversation and said to Zinchenko, "Here, look here, Alex. Come to Arsenal. We want you to come." And I'm sure Zinchenko said, "Look, I want to start." And I'm sure Arteta said, "You're starting," because I don't think he would have come otherwise. To be honest with you, I think Tierney's got a problem. We haven't got a problem, and I hope Tierney's not got a problem. I hope he can lift him. I hope he can be part of the team, and I hope he can, take us up as far as we can go, because we desperately need Kieran Tierney. But at this moment in time, he's not a long way from getting back into that side. I think it would take an injury to Zinchenko, or if we don't bring someone in the midfield, and we get an injury there and Zinchenko going there. But yeah, I mean, going back to Zinchenko, I mean, again, right from the game against Palace. I mean, we've seen what he's all about. His leadership, he's second to none. You can see him. How he gets angry with himself on the pitch when he makes a mistake. I was like shocked when he was shocked when he put his hands on his head when Saliba scored. That was quite funny. So I've heard that he likes a laugh and a joke, but we've got a guy who's all action, a leader. I can just imagine he's just fantastic in the dressing room. For what we've got him for, and when you think that this is what we've got to look at Arteta for, when you think what we paid for Gabriel Jesus, and when you look at like Darwin Núñez, it's cost 100 million, and then you look at Zinchenko and what we paid for him, 30 something, whatever it was, and then you look at Chelsea's gone and bought Cucurella for 60 something. We've done some fantastic business this summer so far. That is incredible work. All right, they're City players, but yeah, I mean, he's Arsenal's left back for me. I don't know what Jerome thinks, but I don't think Kieran Tierney's getting back in. And to be fair, with his injury record, and there was faults through his game. His defending last season wasn't up to standards. I felt he needed to improve. He has actually improved that a bit, so I'll give him that. But he's not getting back in the side with Zinchenko there. Not for me anyway.
Jerome, do you think what you may have seen of Kieran Tierney's personality, that Zinchenko holding down that spot would have Kieran Tierney fighting for his place, or do you think he would eventually look to leave?
I hope he doesn't look to leave, because I think we do need two very good left backs. I like Tierney a lot, but the trouble, or you could say the trouble for Tierney is he can't compete with Zinchenko because he's a totally different player. He's not like a centre forward where you've got two centre forwards, and if one's banging them in, then you sort of got to stick with them. The way we play out from the back with Zinchenko is totally different to how we would play with Tierney. So I think it's just a case of, well, I don't know. I would suggest it's just a case of Arteta looking at the game, thinking of a game plan and thinking, is this game more suited to Tierney or Zinchenko? And by the looks of things, most of the games this season are going to be more suited to Zinchenko. But as we've always said, there's so many games with Europe. You don't want a situation where you've got one good left back and one that's not so good, and the good one's out, and then you're sort of in a mess. Hopefully, we've sort of covered ourselves now that we've got two very, excellent left backs, and you can't really even call Zinchenko a left back, can you? But he'll play when he plays in that position. Obviously, Tierney won't play because Tierney can just play there. But it's an amazing problem to have, and hopefully Tierney's taken what's happened well, and he's training well, and he'll know that he will play. But for the time being, in the games we've got coming up, especially Fulham and Villa at home, you're probably looking at their games that you probably think Zinchenko will start. But it's a brilliant problem to have. Like, this is you'd like to be in this position. You'd like to be in this position all over the pitch. Really, that's the dream. As long as the manager can keep both of them happy.
Yeah.
Can I just add to that? Like, can you both see a scenario where, look, we know Tavares is a decent player. We know there's a player in there. I think we all know that. Yeah, I think we know he's a player. He's just very raw. He's gone out to Marseille, right? Let's just say, for argument's sake, he goes out there, he's smashing it, and he comes back like a Saliba, reborn, if you like. Is it saying in Arteta's head, would Tierney possibly go then? If you've got Tavares sitting there and all of a sudden ready to go rumble?
It depends on the situation. I think it's hard to look so far in the future because you don't know the situation with Kieran Tierney himself. Zinchenko, let's just say injury free, but you don't know in Kieran Tierney's head whether he was happy with that season in fighting for his place because Arsenal won something, whether he's frustrated and wants out. There's so many different nuances to think about, which would have Kieran Tierney then leave after one season of having one player in front of him and then potentially looking at Tavares. I think for me, it's hard to sort of try and second guess that. Just because, from what I've seen of Kieran Tierney, he's not the kind of player to shirk a fight. He's the kind of player that will knuckle down, try and look at his weaknesses in his game and better that. Look to see, he would have hopefully embraced the different type of defender that he is and make himself a better defender of that in that way, which is completely different to Zinchenko. Being different to Zinchenko is not a bad thing. It could actually be playing his favour in certain games, as I think Jerome alluded to before, where each game, Arteta might look at each game and then decide who's going to be best suited.
Yeah, let's be honest. Let's be honest. With Tierney's injury record, even if he was to leave and go somewhere else as the first choice left back, he's still not playing every game because he's going to unfortunately spend a lot of the season out. So being second choice, he might not even play that many less games as if he was first choice.
I think that would make a difference, wouldn't it? You're saying it's hard to second guess, Kieran, and you're right. But I think one thing that we can take is like what Jerome said there. If say this season again he gets injured 3 or 4 times or 2 or 3 times, it's something that would have to be looked at, wouldn't it? He'd be keeping a close eye on Tavares and thinking, well, how's he doing out there? And if someone did come in for a bid and they think 25 million we paid for him, okay, let's cut and run, because 52% of games he played last season. Look, let's hope he don't. We're talking all on the negatives, and let's hope he don't. Let's hope he wants to fight for his place with Zinchenko. He'll play the League Cup, the FA Cup, the Europa League probably. He'll be our backup at this moment in time anyway. So let's hope he don't. But I think to me, the injury record is going to play a big part in whether we do move him on or if someone comes in, and it'll put a little thought in Arteta's head if Tavares is smashing it. This season he could be an unbelievable left back. I mean, he started very well. He could probably go into it a bit later with Jerome. But it's good that we've got 3, isn't it? We've got 3 possible excellent left backs. So from our point of view, anyway.
Yeah, no, definitely, it's good. I think, Kieran Tierney, like you said, he's got Europa League Cup games. They're all there. There'll be plenty of opportunity for Kieran Tierney to play this season.
Yeah.
So I don't see it as an issue. I think Kieran Tierney's probably the season where he had the longest run of games without getting injured was last season when Kieran Tierney was back, and then Tavares kept him out of the team for another 2 or 3 games, which then gave Kieran Tierney a little bit of extra sort of recovery time. And then what we've then gone on to find out is Kieran Tierney had hyperextended his knee and didn't say anything to the management, and that's Kieran Tierney's problem. is he needs to start being honest with his own body.
Yeah.
When he does get injured, he needs to not look at it as a situation of this team needs me to play. Although, like, because it's going to be detrimental to the team as well if Kieran Tierney is playing on an injury. And that's where you talk about leadership. That's where he needs to step aside and think about the team over himself. Because we all want to play games. If you're not your physical best and you're hiding an injury, then that's no good. And that's the leadership side there is definitely one he probably needs to look at if that is the case. All right. So another player who ripped it up on the weekend. No goal, however. I mean, you got to essentially call his non-assisted assist with where he set up Martinelli. But Gabriel Jesus, Steve, how much of an impact has he had in the first 3 games, and what a player he's been so far?
Oh, just incredible. I mean, it's funny. Just before we come on tonight, I see that the run that he did for Arsenal's first goal against Bournemouth. I mean, that was like something that I ain't seen an Arsenal centre forward do for years and years. I mean, even Aubameyang with his pace. I mean, his pomp. I'd never seen him with that close control and just skip round people and then just lay it off, and eventually, Odegaard put it in the back. Put it in the net. But he's just, I mentioned just now, 42, 45, £1 million, an absolute steal. The guys, for me, if you put him, Aubameyang and him together, for me, Jesus is the better player. He's a winner. He's won titles, but he's got everything. He can score goals with his air, with his left foot, with his right foot. His close control running at a player must absolutely frighten the life out of any defence. Absolutely any defence. And I think Man City have missed a trick. I think that they've looked at this and I think they're surprised, because now they're seeing Jesus in a different light. They're seeing him happy. They're seeing him playing regular games. And he's incredible. His control, his movement, his passion for the game. He's a winner. He's just a winner, and these are the little reasons why I'm getting so close to saying what you don't want me to say, because I'd be absolutely shocked if this guy don't hit 30 goals this season. I'd be absolutely amazed with the amount of flair players around him, with your Martinellis, your Odegaards, your Sakas, even when they're not playing, when your Vieira's coming in, with your Zinchenko, this guy's going to smash 30 goals absolutely easy. And looking at, maybe Haaland, but the others, I think, there'll be struggle. It's probably going to be the closest golden boot for forever, this season. I really think it will be that. But he's got the lot. Just incredible, just an incredible footballer, and I'm going the Aston Villa game, so I can't wait to see him live. So that'd be brilliant.
All right, Jerome, 3 games, 5 goal contributions from Jesus. Are you surprised by his starts of his Arsenal career?
Am I surprised? Nah, not really. He's a quality player. I think with some centre forwards in the past that we've had, which isn't the case with Jesus, it seems, is that sometimes our centre forwards, they could either have quite a quiet game where they don't do much. Maybe they might pop up with a goal, which is obviously great, but you can have centre forwards that don't really get involved. Whereas Jesus, I think every time he plays, he's massively involved. He's busy and he's on the ball, and he's so good that when he is on the ball, he'll do things with it. He's not sort of on the ball and nothing comes off for him, or he's so productive and gives so much that I think it's a joy and a pleasure to watch him play.
Yeah.
And like with Zinchenko and Saliba, he's played three games for us. So the linking with Martinelli and Saka and the midfielders behind him, it's only going to get better. Their relationship's only going to improve. And yeah, I don't think I am massively surprised, but it's good that he sort of, I think we said at the beginning, he's proper hit the ground running, isn't he? No settling in time at all. So just hope it can continue, and I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will.
Yeah, no, definitely. Ryan says, sign of the season, Zinchenko is class. Keep him at left back, especially when you play against teams that have tons of possession. You have tons of possession again. Yeah, no, definitely, because he drops into that midfield, doesn't he? He creates space. That's one of his attributes that may go under the radar, is the fact that he will happily hold onto that ball, draw in a player, which has massively benefited Granit Xhaka, because he draws in that player that's usually around Xhaka, and then as soon as he comes near, Xhaka's there to take the ball off him. So yeah, he's getting a very good partnership with Granit Xhaka as well. This one question, Steve: do you think that White will continue to play at right back for the immediate future?
Yeah, without doubt. For the immediate future, there's absolutely no reason to drop him. He's played very well in all the 3 games. Yes, he doesn't get down the flanks, as you know, to the corner flag, if you like, whipping balls across like some modern right backs do. But like I said before, if you watch him every week, he's like he does what he tries to do, what the Zinchenko does, by moving into the midfield, and sort of like he's sort of helps Party out in the midfield, and Zinchenko helps Xhaka out on the other side, and he does that a lot. So definitely no reason. I think he's been excellent. I think he's found himself another new position there, which is good for him, because at the moment he probably wouldn't get in at centre back because of Saliba and Gabriel. Now they're sort of forming a partnership together. But no, to answer the question there, Ryan, no way. He should never be dropped. I'm an advocate of, if you're doing well and you're in a winning team, then you don't drop. And he's given us something. He's given us something different. It's not. We as I said, we could ever say that he doesn't get down the flanks, but he helps. He helps in other ways. And so no, Ryan, I think he should stay. And Tomiyasu, let him get fit. He's not fit yet anyway. So until he drops his form or he gets an injury, for me, he stays in.
Yeah, no, definitely. I see Charles Watts the other day talking about he would have changed Tomiyasu for Ben White, and he was quite surprised by the comments reaction that were all like, no way would you change it. But I was quite surprised by his reaction. It seems like sometimes we're too quick to change things, because we're always looking for the better. When if Arsenal won 2-2 at the time when these statements were made, what are you looking for that's better? What is it that Ben White's not doing in the games? And let's not forget, he got an assist the other day. Well, again, he got cut back to Martinelli, or cut back, and then there was a little touch from Jesus, and then Odegaard smashed in.
Yeah.
Run down the flank, overlapped with Saliba and cut it back. Like, you can't dismiss that. Like, there's a big chunk of him. Is involved.
Yeah. One thing, mate. One thing you can add to that, where he doesn't get down that right hand flank, as you already just said, then it's giving because Zinchenko's giving Xhaka that license more to get forward than he did last season. We've got that extra man up there anyway, so it don't really make a difference.
Yeah, Jerome, you keeping Ben White at right back for the immediate future?
I think because of how he's been playing and how the team's been doing, I don't think you can change it. I think it's sort of, although it is a decision to keep Ben White at right back, it's sort of a non-decision because you're not really doing anything. Which the thing is, I do love Tomiyasu at right back. I think if you were to ask most Arsenal fans who's a better right back, Tomiyasu or Ben White, I think most would probably say Tomiyasu. But because of how he's been playing, I don't think you can change it, and I don't think he will. I think that is a harder decision than changing the left back. I think the left back is easy because of the way Zinchenko plays, but with the right back, they're not too dissimilar, are they? Mm-hmm. They're not, if you know what I mean. They're more similar than Zinchenko.
Not an attacking fullback.
They're defenders, aren't they? Yeah,
he comes up and down, but he's not your typical fullback. He's like a right centre back fullback.
I think if we were playing against a team with a very tricky left winger who was a big threat, I think I'd be inclined to chuck Tomiyasu in, but I don't think at the moment we are. So
We've done all right with Sahar. He got a little bit of change out of him, but they didn't score.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. One thing you can't. Sorry, Jerome. Sorry, mate. One thing you can't do in a team, especially the way Arsenal playing at the moment, is if you was to bring Ben White out now and Tomiyasu's fit and you start him, that's not a good look. That's not a look good because that'll get the other players in the pitch will see that and they'll think, well, no matter how good I play, no matter how if I'm smashing it, if I've got someone who I've took their place, then what? When they're fit, they'll just come back in and I'll be on the bench. You can't do that. You can't do. You got to keep the continuity of the team. You got to keep everyone in. They've got to have that frame of mind on the pitch that you can make one move like that and that could affect others. Going forward, you can't do it.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. I don't think he'll do it, but I think Tomiyasu plays left centre back for Japan, so you won't see it. But he could go for Saliba and Tomiyasu as centre backs with White at right back if Gabriel was to come out. Like I said, I don't think he'll do it, but you never know.
Yeah,
never know.
Yeah, I don't. You can't change it. You can't change it because where do you go? If Ben White comes out, how does he get back in the team? And
exactly.
what merit does he go back in the team? Like it's different if you're playing a team where you're constantly rotating. We've seen it with Man City where they'll have 1 week they'll have Cancelo there, next week they'll have Walker there. Like they swap it around, but that's part of their team. They're keeping the rotation going. Arteta, we've seen what team he's going to put out because it's the team that's won the last game. Now, if there's something to be fair to him, even if the team has won the last game and someone's not played great, he may make a change there. But that's not the case at the moment. Everyone's playing well. Yeah. There's no one that's had a game where it's deemed droppable, and he also gives players a fair chance. It's not like if you have one iffy moment, you're coming out, which I know some of the fans would probably. Well, in the 22nd minute, he actually misplaced a pass, so it should be dropped. That's not how life works because then you'll just have anxious footballers who would clam up, not relax, and will constantly make a mistake because they're on edge. And people then cry out, "We're trying to keep high standards." That's not how it works, people. Like to be a decent footballer, to be a decent anything, you need to be able to relax. Like anyone that's tense and trying to play does not play well because they're second guessing, they're overthinking, and that's not how you play. You play with your best at your best, like when you're playing with your mates or in the park because you're just relaxed, you're having fun, and that's when footballers are their best. So having players on edge, thinking that every mistake that they make would deem them useless and on the bench in the next game is going to be not going to happen. So it's good that if you have a bad game or if you have an average game, you're not going to worry about getting dropped. You've got another chance, which is what we saw with Tavares last season. When he was back fit. So keep it for me. Keep it the same, and it makes the people that are sitting on the bench hungrier. We know there's some cup games coming up soon, so that there's definitely no rush. All right, let's get on to the next one, which is our next run of games. We've got Fulham, followed by Villa, then the big one against Manchester United and Everton. That's funny enough. That's the order that came in last season as well. Don't know what's going on there. Followed by Brentford, and then, as we like to say, those mugs down the road, the Spuds. Steve, what do you think a realistic points total is after that run of games?
Right, so we've got two home games there, haven't we? Fulham and Villa, both at home. That's got to be 6 points.
18 points from that. Is it? My maths ain't incorrect.
Yeah. You look at I don't know about. I think that. I mean, Man United's away, isn't it? And Tottenham is that home or away?
It's a home. I think it is. Yeah, Man United's
It's,
away. Tottenham's at home.
it's at home. I think I'm looking at. I would say 3, 6, 7, 10, 13, 15. Yeah, what's 15 points is that? I would say 15 points. We should beat Fulham. That should be that's a given. Jesus going in for my triple captain, giving me secrets away here, but he's going in there. Villa 3 points. Man United, look, Man United's Man United. that will be a tough one. So I'd say I'll be happy with a point there, because it's just always one of them type of games. It's like a derby. So
Everton at home, Brentford away.
Everton, Brentford away, and Tottenham at home. All 3 points, mate.
All right. So Steve, you're going for what? 16 points?
Yeah. Just a draw against Man United, win the rest.
All right, Jerome. Realistically, how many points do you think we'll be getting from that?
I think, that we're not going to win forever, are we? I think we'll probably win a few and draw a few. I think Fulham, Villa, and Everton will probably win. Mm-hmm. United, Brentford, and Spurs, possibly a few draws. It's just I'm just playing the odds. Just probability. We won our first 3. I can't see us going on a silly run. So I'd say maybe 12 points out of those games.
Still a solid start to the season.
Oh yeah, it's massive. That's
22
20
points.
Exactly. I think that's 21 points out of 27. Points.
Yeah.
So yeah, amazing. I'll take that.
Yeah. I fancy us against Tottenham. I fancy us against Tottenham strongly. From what I've seen of them so far this season, they might improve. They might get a couple of more players in. I don't know. But from what I've seen, and I've seen quite a bit of them, they should not have beat Wolves. They was lucky to get something out of Chelsea. So for me, Arsenal at home against Tottenham, for me, we're winning that. Or at this moment in time, we should be winning that, unless we totally implode, up until that game. So yeah, I'm not frightened of Tottenham. I'm just always wary of Man United because it's away at Old Trafford. So, and it's just one of them games. But other than that, I think we'll win them all. We should win them all.
All right. Paul's gone for 16 points. Paul's, who do you think we're going to drop in points against?
Yeah.
Everyone else in the comment section, let us know how many points you think Arsenal will get from that run of games. Steve, what do you think potentially is the thing that's would be stopping us in that game? Would it be us ourselves as players, the mentality wise, or do you think there's a team out there that can potentially put the brakes on of this run so far?
I don't think there's at the moment. I just can't see anybody stopping us at the minute. If we just carry on playing this type of football, then every one of those teams going to be frightened to death to be coming up against us. We're strong. We're like we've got that fear factor now. You're looking across at players in their side, looking across the old saying goes, you look across in the tunnel and you lose the game before you come out. I think we're the closest to being that since the Invincibles. It's scary. Partey and Xhaka are formidable. When they're looked upon, they know that they ain't going to be messed with. They know Zinchenko's there, Ben White, Gabriel. We're a hard team now. Also, we're a tall team. We're a big team. We're dangerous from free kicks. We're dangerous from corners. At the moment, I just can't see us. I think obviously if we get an injury to Jesus or an injury in a key area, I feel that if we get, still feel we need someone in that midfield if Xhaka or Partey gets injured. So, a couple of injuries there could cause us a problem. If we're playing against Tottenham, but other than injuries, I can't see much, really sort of stopping us at this minute in time. Other than I just total, we implode in our form, which I just can't see at the minute because all through pre-season, all for the first 3 games, we're looking unstoppable. So yeah, I find it hard to see where we would, apart from injuries, and possibly if we don't get anybody else in that midfield area, could cause us a problem if we, So yeah, but I'm not worried. I'm just so buzzing at that moment.
All right, Jerome, what potentially do you think could be the stopper on this run so far? Ourselves self-imploding, the mentality of the youngsters, or do you think that a year of a few adversities last season, there was a big learning curve, and that's not going to be a worry?
I'll sort of say it as half a joke, but I think refereeing decisions could go against us, could hurt us. Yellow cards and red cards seem to fly out of the referees' pockets when we foul anyone. And obviously that Jesus goal that got chalked off at the weekend. Another ridiculous
That's criminal,
decision.
weren't it? I know offside is offside, so it's probably the one rule that is not subjective and is like it's legit, it's offside. But oh my word, that was painful to take.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if some decisions go against us. Other than that, no, look, we keep our main players fit. We've got a great chance over the next 6 or so games.
Mm-hmm.
They come out of the blocks quickly every game and basically score when we're on top.
Yeah.
I think what might be a bit tricky for us is if we go a goal down in a few of these games, see how the team reacts then, because we haven't done that so far. Every game we've been in the lead, so let's see how the team reacts if that happens.
Leicester, we come back though, didn't we? Pretty sharpish in those games.
Yeah, being a goal down. We haven't been a goal down yet in any of the games.
Oh no. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So if we go 1-0 down, that'll be interesting to see how we respond.
Yeah, I think the important thing for Arsenal, as you said there, the fact that we come out the blocks last season when we didn't come out the blocks of the games we fell short on. It's like running start from flat. It's no good. We need to come out the blocks, hit the teams early, get a goal in the first half, and then the second half we seem to be shutting up shop pretty well and be very, very good discipline. So yeah, I think if you continue to do that, I think we're going to blow quite a few teams away and surprise a lot. Paul says, as you guys said, Man United is the game we should beat them, but it's United, and we always think they always because it's exactly. One of those rivalries, and these are the games that the players look for at the start of the season. As to when they are. One thing Steve did mention is potentially injuries, but one way to alleviate the issues of those injuries is through transfers. And what a segue that was. This is the transfer. Steve. He's had enough. Clearly, he's bottled it. But don't worry. I can say one player who Arsenal have been linked with is Pedro Neto. As you would have seen on the Transfer Exchange show, won't be an issue as the player's wages would be doubled if he was to join Arsenal. Wolves said they're not willing to sell, but also, as we know, that is not the case because they would sell at the right price because Wolves, they do need the money. But guys, Arsenal are in talks with Wolves over a fee. And they made contact about a month ago. Steve, any more on the latest for Pedro Neto, or just give people who don't know a little recap? Anything I haven't added?
Well, Pedro Neto, he's funny enough. He mainly plays out on the left-hand side. He played, on the right-hand side against Spurs, and he was given a man-marking job on Ivan Perisic. So straight away, there's a player there who's got not just a winger. He's not really a fast winger. He's not someone who would, a stereotypical winger, if you like. He's got a lot more to his game. Can play wing back. He can play wing back. But as far as Pedro Neto goes, look, as you already said, the Arsenal have been talking to him Mendes has been talking to Wolves now for a month. So they are willing to sell at the right price. The only thing is the right price now is round about 50 million. Arsenal do feel that at the moment this is too much. I've been told that this something that could possibly happen in January or next year is more likely due to the price. But the player wants to go, but it's the price. It's the price. Wolves are not going to shift from it. He's only just signed a 5-year contract. But like I've already said, they've been talking for a month. So the player has already been spoken to about personal terms. That isn't a problem. There is a problem over the price. Arsenal are trying to get players out. They're trying to get Pepe out. Pepe's the key. If Pepe can be moved on, then there's a good chance then that Pedro Neto will come in. He is the number one choice now. He's the mystery winger. But as I've already said a few times, the 50 million asking price at this moment is a problem. Because I don't think Arsenal would pay that price unless they can get the Maitland-Niles out the door, unless they can get the Pepes out the door. So that's basically where we are. But he's an excellent player. But 50 million for someone who might not be starting, I don't know. But the money is there, but it's just that Arsenal feel that he's not worth for what they want. 50 million. They feel he's worth less. Obviously, Wolves don't.
All right, Jerome, what do you think a Pedro Neto would add to this Arsenal team?
I think he's very good 1v1. I think he'd add a lot of directness, bit of unpredictability, great burst. Can play either left or right, which is very helpful for us. I think he'd be a fantastic addition. Knows the league. I remember that we played Wolves at home last season, and I think he was just coming back from injury, and he came off the bench. And when you saw that he was coming on, you thought, he could do something. He could do us some damage, this player. And that's what we need on our team. We need players that other defenders and other teams are scared of, and I think that's what he gives you. So I'd love for it to happen. I mean, if we were planning on spending 50, 60 on Rafinha, a lot of money anyway these days in football, like it's a bit meaningless. 50, 60, 70, 40. What does it really matter? If it doesn't stop you from doing the other business you want to do, then but I'd love for it to happen, but we'll see.
All right. Says offer Wolves 40 million plus Maitland-Niles. That'll be 30 million then.
Well, they wanted him, didn't they? They wanted him.
Minus. This geezer's not done anything in 3 or 4 seasons. Paul, don't offer Maitland-Niles. Just offer him the 40 million. Let
him have a Maitland-Niles for nothing.
Bloody hell. You don't want to throw Maitland-Niles in there. It could potentially scarper the deal. I've not seen anything from Maitland-Niles to make me think that he's an Arsenal level player. Far from it.
Just to add to Neto, just while we're on the story, I mean, I have heard that Man City is still sniffing around for Saka, and from quite a good source that he could end up being a replacement for Saka.
Do you actually see that? Do you see what if Arsenal are trying to elevate themselves to a level? Why sell Saka for a Neto? How do you bring in a replacement for the Neto?
Well, I mean, the only reason I'm saying it's from a good source. So I'm getting it out there that there is a possibility if this time next summer Man City have all of a sudden gone Saka and then he's on his way, then you've heard it here first. Because I was. But look, all I know is that we've had sort of contact with Bakary Saka's agent, and all he's saying is that it's all they're doing at the moment is that they're talking about new contract talks, but that can go either way. You can tie someone down for 5 years and still that could be a reason why if you did sell him to Man City, you'd put 100 million on his head or something like that. So, I don't want to get rid of Saka. I'm not trying to sell him on. I'm just when you get, told things, I'm, bringing it here first. So, but, you bring in Neto. Just say you brought in Neto this time. Next season you sold Saka for 120, and you've got Neto there, and you've got 120 in the bin, and then you can bring another world absolutely class player in. So there's different scenarios, there's different things, but I don't want Saka to go. I mean, but it's one that I had to listen to just due to who told me.
Jerome, what kind of a message do you think it would send if Arsenal were to sell a Saka?
No, look, it wouldn't be good. It's a player that's like, he's been there since he was about 9 or 10, Saka. And you'd like to think that from his side of things, he would like to stay. Like, we're now at a point where we're starting to progress a bit. Like, now's not the time to jump ship. Pep, I don't know how long he's going to be there for, but he's obviously a big part of their success. No, you can't. If you want to compete, you can't be selling your best players, unless it is an absolute ridiculous sum of money, which then you're left with no alternative.
Yeah, every player's got his price.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think football wise, I think it's a bad look. Like, he's not going to a Barcelona or Madrid that's got, tens of years of amazing history. This is a team that's just come on the scene. You've got all their money out of nowhere. I think it's a bad look. Yeah, he can go there and win things. I know everyone wants to win things, but I think if he stays at Arsenal, if he does stay at Arsenal, he'll have a statue outside the ground. If he goes to Man City, that won't happen.
Do you think he can win things at Arsenal?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's hard because we're competing, like I said, with a team that has just got bundles and bundles of cash. So it's very hard. Not only them, but there's other teams as well. So yeah, it's going to be hard. I hope the only thing, you might look at someone like a Harry Kane that's obviously done very well for his club but hasn't won anything. But I think he can still win things at Arsenal. He's got chances.
He's already won more than Harry Kane.
Yeah,
he's won more than Harry Kane.
Yeah, ultimately it depends what's important to him.
Yeah, one thing I can tell you, which I just didn't mention just then, Man City won him. That's a fact. That is a fact. I can tell you they want him. I can't say whether we'll go. I can't say whether the transfer will happen. No idea. Looking at it from a fan's point of view, I'm thinking sign him up for 5 years and keep him. But I know they want him. I know for a fact that they want him.
Yeah, but City wanting him is one thing, and selling him is a completely another thing.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. But I know they do want him, so we have to, get him signed up for this contract and get it done. If we do lose him, we get 120 million, 130 million for him. And look, the first time when it was told to me, it was like, what was your conversation when we bought Jesus and Zinchenko? It's the first thing that came into my head. Well, we did get Jesus for 40 odd. We got Zinchenko for 30 odd. I said at the beginning of the show, 100 million for Nunes and Cucurella was 60 odd, and we've just got two players in my eyes is better than both of them. And you don't know, and it's just things come into your head. But they do want him. I can. Yeah,
no, it's a story. It's a story that we posted a couple of months ago that Man City were interested in Saka. But I think it's for the club to hold their resolve there and make sure they don't sell one of their star players. 100% with Melvin, it sends out the wrong message. Sends out the wrong message to potential incomings and especially to the fan base. And they're doing a good job of bringing them together. So one thing you don't want to do is sell your star assets. And one of them's Saka, the other one's Martinelli, the other one's Saliba at the moment. So they're three players that I don't think Arsenal fans want to see go anywhere. All right. Steve, any more on the transfer updates?
Well, there's obviously the other player that has been the saga of the summer, hasn't it, for Arsenal fans is Yuri Tillemans. We put out in a tweet today that I've been told that Arsenal will now need to increase the offer proposed to Leicester. Leicester, look, the reason why this has gone on now, I say that Arsenal have been talking to Leicester for a long, long time, and he's got a year left on his contracts, and Leicester have this thing in their head that they want 35 million for him. We know what Arsenal have offered, and it's quite a little bit way off that. So at the moment, Arsenal will have to act fast and go in, before the window closes. So again, look, both of these players we've mentioned, Neto and Yuri Tillemans, both under contracts. I said last week, someone put in the comments, what could go? Can we go? It can go wrong. Things can go wrong. They're in contract. They don't have to sell them to us. So Arsenal have to pay the asking price on both these players if they want them to come. And they know Arsenal have got some money because they wanted Rafinha. So when you're sort of asking for 50 million for Netos and 35s for Tillemans, they're going to want to get the best they can. So look, people have said Tillemans, why do Leicester would want to not get 30 odd million for him now and leave it or go for nothing at the end of the season? I can't see that, but I can't. It's an interesting one. As I said, Arsenal have got to go. They're not going to. It doesn't look like I've heard Arsenal going to decrease their offer. They ain't going to decrease their offer. They've got to up it. So yeah, there's a little bit of a stalemate going on in there at the minute. But Tillemans wants to come. Personal terms agreed, but again, in the hands of Arsenal to give them what they want at this moment in stage if they want to pay it.
Yep. And the longer they take, potentially one, the other team can come in. Two, Leicester need to find a replacement. So it's that stage where Arsenal do actually need to start making moves on this transfer if they are going to try and get it across the line. I have been told that it is a deal that will be done very quickly if it does get done. Everything's in place. Players' personal terms are already agreed. So it's not a case of anything will be dragged out. The players ready to go. The clubs have been talking for a while, so it is something that can be done very quickly. So, any more updates, Steve?
No, that's about it, mate. Really. Again, we've got Bellerin. He's got a few clubs. Nicolas Pepe, that's close to being done. Still trying to find a club for Maitland-Niles. Just can't get rid of him. Still getting told that he's got to stay to the end of his contract, which is bang out of order and worrying, considering the guy, like you've already mentioned, has done absolutely nothing for us in the last 4 years. Worse than Lacazette in my mind. But look, it's about outgoings. Pepe is close to being done. They're just sorting it out. His personal terms there with Nice, and he'll end up going there, and I think he'll hit it off there. I think he'll do well. It's obviously the Premier League hasn't been his thing. He's not his type of league. He'll go to France. He'll play for Nice, and he'll probably do very well there. And good luck to him. But they're just talking about his personal terms now. Everything's done as far as Pepe and Arsenal in the right place. Just Pepe and Nice talking personal terms, and then that'll be done.
All right, sweet. Now, players that are actually still on the books, but fighting for an opportunity to take the manager's eye, and when they come back, potentially be a part of the first team squad. It is loan watch time. Jerome, who have you had a look at this week?
Yeah, so we've had Balogun, Flores, and Nuno Tavares, everyone's favourite left wing back. they've been out playing. Now, the good thing is they're all playing. They're all playing plenty of minutes. Balogun and Tavares both played the full games, and even Flores, he played most of the game. He came off with about 15 minutes to go. Okay. Balogun scored again. He had another goal disallowed for offside. He could have had a couple of assists as well, but the finishing wasn't too good.
Is he looking sharp?
Yeah, looking very good. Balogun playing very central, and heavily involved in a lot of good things that they do going forward.
Is he the main man up front at Reims?
Yeah, for them he is. Yeah, for them he is. It'd be interesting to see how he does against maybe the better teams in France. He played against Strasbourg, who they're no PSG, so it's good to see how he does against those guys. As we know, Flores is in the second division at Real Oviedo in Spain, and as I say, he played most of the game. He's very lively, playing with a lot of like enthusiasm and freedom, taking up lots of different positions over the pitch. Unfortunately, he hasn't grown this week. We're still waiting for that little growth spurt. He's absolutely tiny.
He puts himself about. He's like little Tasmanian devil.
Yeah, he does. You know what? He won a header. I saw him win a header this week. He leapt like he's never.
Come on.
And Tavares, once again, a real mixed bag. One absolutely electrifying run where he whizzed past about three or four players. They played at home to Nantes, Marseille. Not perfect, defensively, caught out a couple of times. So a similar game to the games that he's had for Arsenal, actually, where you see the best and the worst of him in the 90 minutes. Got into some really dangerous attacking positions, as he always does. He's such a strange one because he has some world-class moments, like real top world-class moments that not a lot of players can, think he does things that not players can do, and then, just give a sloppy ball away that looks so easy or gets caught in the wrong position. But the good thing is he's playing. That's all we can ask for really at the moment. For him to be
hopefully he learns from his experiences and his mistakes as well, because
he's a unit,
you can tidy up the mistakes that he makes. Then you've got one hell of a player there. And I did actually see his game the other day, and I agree. But the mistakes he's making, they can easily be like eradicated from his game quite easily. Sometimes he dwells on the ball a bit too long. Sometimes it's like, do you even know what you're doing? Like, do you even know where you're gonna go? Are you thinking ahead, or are you thinking on the spot?
With Tavares, he is. I know we said Zinchenko and Tini are very different players. He's another one. He's completely different to both of them. He's
completely different.
He's not like either of them. We've got three very different left backs on the books.
Yeah. Does he need to muscle down, you think? Sometimes we always say now, like Balogun, he needs to muscle up. I mean, does he? When you've watched him, Jerome, is it his mobility that catches him out because of his size?
I think physically he's good. I think it's maybe decision making, perhaps, that maybe he needs to work on. I think maybe he'll get that with the minutes. I think physically he's decent. He's not
powerful,
very quick, powerful. Needs to maybe he can use his weight in better ways. I think, like not getting marked off the goal.
Yeah,
I agree.
His frame is good. His frame is. He's got like a perfect frame, really, hasn't he, for that type of player?
I agree. He could definitely use his body weight, like take up your positions better, spread your legs a bit more. The amount of times, there's not too many, but it's like if I've seen it twice in the game, why are you going up against a player, and he's like barging you, and you're like so narrow. Push the floor, spread your weight, spread your legs. Like it's very simple things. You just like small players would be used to it because they're used to getting pushed about, so they're ready for it. They're ready for the impact. Whereas Tavares, it seems like maybe under 21s and playing in Portugal, he's been able to use his physical attributes against those kind of players. Where he's coming up against men all the time, he can't really use that. So
it's like. It's like Peter Crouch. He couldn't he said when he first started, he couldn't jump and win headers because he was so used to just standing there and being taller than everyone else. He didn't need to jump.
Yeah.
So it might be like that.
Yeah.
I think you're spot on where you said a completely different player to both Tierney and because he is. He's more of a who's the
that's the thing is it's hard.
Davis. He's more of an Alphonso Davis where if you could seriously get sort out his technical ability, you've got a serious player because I think that's what they were so impressed about with him is the fact that he's got the burners, he's got the power. And anyone that's standing in front of him where he's running at you, you don't know where to go. You don't know where to go.
You're running away, mate. That's what you're doing.
Yeah,
no
one likes players running at them, and Tavares does that. But he needs to, like you said earlier, he needs to sort out his decisions. He needs to make sure that he's crossing the ball rather than shooting, which I've noticed he does a little bit more with Marseille. Maybe they've had a word with him because he's taking it down the flank, then putting it back on his right, which is a lot better. So
he's like a Kyle Walker centre fullback, isn't he? He's that size. He's a big unit. You know, a lot of the left right backs now, like Robinson and and Trent Arnold, they're thin. He's totally different. He's a unit. He is. He's like a beast. I don't think there's a. I mean, I can't think of a left back, a full back like him anywhere in the Premier League. I can't think of one. I'm trying to think of one, but I can't think of any of his size and of his power.
Yeah, he will never be a Zinchenko type of left back, but that's a 1 in a million left back anyway. But if he just improved in the areas where he's already good, like I think that would make a massive difference. Like he doesn't need to change too much; just needs to get better at the things that he can do.
Yeah, don't shoot either.
Yeah, although he did score a worldie last week.
Yeah, true. True, yeah.
Last week. So, but then I think in that game he had 2 stinkers of a shot.
Yeah.
I think he had 2 stinkers in.
Yeah, we'll have to give Partey and Tavares extra shooting training. I think, like get them together.
Balls cost money, and I don't think they'll be retrieving any of them balls anytime soon. That is all we have time for. Make sure you join us for the post-match reaction of the Fulham game. Another game, another 3 points for Arsenal, hopefully. It's going to be a big one. We've got plenty of games coming up. Then they're coming thick and fast. Villa, Man United, Everton, Brentford, and Tottenham as well. That run, Jerome says, what did you say, 15 points, 16 points, 16 points for Arsenal. And Steve also says 16 points. So let's wait and see. Everyone who has joined in the comment section, thank you very much for joining us in the comments. Absolutely buzzing tonight. If you are new to the show, smash that subscribe button, smash that like. If you are a regular, smash the subscribe or smash the like and hit that share button. Just have to press the copy, and that is all we ask for. Thanks for joining us tonight, Steve.
Yeah, welcome, mate. Lovely. Cheers.
And thank you for joining us tonight, Jerome.
Yeah, of course. Pleasure. Cheers.
All right, people. Peace out. Stay safe. And wash your hands.